Welcome back, everyone. The 1985 Toyota 22RE is now put back together. Last 12 hours I spent putting this engine back together. Didn't film any of it because I was just mainstream focused. So I did went ahead and got a new Ace-in clutch, so that's why it took a little bit longer. Put a new Ace-in clutch, used the old flywheel and such. Everything went in pretty smooth. Everything's all hooked up. I'm pretty sure I have everything hooked up. I'm gonna do one more check. Oil, fluids. You still have to do the exhaust system. I use the 87 Forerunner exhaust, which is the downpipe all the way to the cat, and then there's no muffler. So right now I have that bolted up for this test run. So it's gonna be loud, but it's gonna be good. If it runs good, I want to pull it out of my garage and flip it around so that my driver is over here. It makes it easier for me to work on the exhaust system because the exhaust is on the driver's side. So without further ado, guys, let's just go ahead and do a first start and hope everything goes good. This is my first time doing a first start on a 22RE. We know the motor's good, guys. We know the motor's good, but we want to make sure everything's electrical wise is working fine and all that fun stuff. Fun. New oil pump, new water pump, all that fun stuff. New air filter as well. I went ahead and wrapped up all the engine harness with the Tesla tape, spark plugs, new spark plug, new all exhaust gasket, valve cover gasket, all that fun stuff. Thermostat, new thermostat. The fuel injectors were professionally rebuilt, clean and rebuilt from Injector Masters in Oregon. So guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and get it started up. Always have a fire extinguisher ready, guys. You never know what's gonna happen during these first starts. Just be prepared. The driver door latch can't open from the outside. I fixed it the other day, but it must have popped out again from the door handle, so I gotta pop the door from the passenger side. And I also can't roll the window down because it's hitting the latch, so I gotta pop that driver door eventually. You guys have seen me do first start many a times on my 3-4 trucks and all that stuff. Like I said, guys, safety is priority. You don't want no fuel leak, coolant leak, or anything like that. Have the fire extinguisher ready. I have my headlamp. I'm gonna flip this on once the vehicle starts. I also have my little flashlight here, and I'm gonna start inspecting for leaks. So once this thing starts, we're gonna celebrate a little bit, hopefully, and then I'm gonna go right into the engine and start looking for any leaks. Look at the fuel injectors, the fuel pump, not the fuel pump, the fuel filter. Look at all your coolant lines, two coolant lines, two of the throttle bodies, the heater hose, and all that stuff. I'm just gonna start looking for leaks and stuff like that. So let's go ahead. First start. Make sure we're recording. Woo! Let's do it. No first start. So when I turn the key, it's just clicking. I know I have the starter plugged in. Starter's plugged in, so something's going on with the starter. Let me double check my work and we'll get back to it, but there's nothing at all. Just check the battery. Battery's still good, 12 volts. Check the starter trigger on the starter. It's all plugged in. Let's go ahead and check a few more things. Alright, I checked everything. Doesn't look like I forgot anything. There is still a ground wire from the firewall chassis to the back of the cylinder head. I did forgot that. I haven't plugged it yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and try one more time and see what happens. If nothing happens, I'll go ahead and put that ground wire on. I highly doubt that ground wire is the problem. The spark plug wire to the igniter was kind of loose, so I kind of plugged it fully in. Hopefully it's not that. I don't think so. So we'll go ahead and give it a try. I'm getting nothing, guy. There's also no clutch start button. I'm pressing the clutch, but there's no clutch start. Let me go ahead and put that ground to the cylinder head to the back of the firewall. I highly doubt it's that, but it might be something else. I know the starter is good on this rig because the starter was working when I took it out. You know, it was running before. Alright guys, I double checked all my work. I can't really figure out what I did wrong. I did went ahead and put that extra ground wire from the cylinder block to the back of the firewall. I also didn't bleed out the master slave cylinder down by the clutch. So when I was pressing the clutch, I'm not sure if that's engaging it to, you know, it's a safety thing. There's also no clutch start on this truck. But I've also heard that these trucks don't need to be, you don't need to press in the clutch to start it, but I could be wrong. But we'll see what happened. I put that extra ground wire. I highly doubt it is, but if it is, that will tell us how important ground wires are. So let's go ahead and do a third attempt. Nothing as always. Third attempt, we're not getting nothing. I think this starter might be bad. So this was the original starter that was on this truck, and it was somewhat working when we got it off and on the trailer. I did went ahead and clean it. I cleaned the outside of it, you know, with brake cleaner because it was all greasy. But then I didn't test it. I should have tested it before I put it back in. It didn't. So I do still have the other starter that was off that 87 4Runner. We know that works for sure because it was running. So I think I might have to take out this starter and test it, bench test it, and then also if it doesn't work, then we're going to switch out starters. So I'm out of time for now. I have to go back to my family now, so we'll go ahead and swap out the starter in a bit and try another attempt. Back in action. I put in the other starter. Let's go ahead and try again. Fourth time. Fingers crossed. It was a bad starter. We're gonna let it crank for a little bit, build some oil pressure. Bad starter, let's go. It sounds good. Pull the truck out. Shut it off. One of the heater hoses is leaking. I didn't notice it was ripped, but this heater hose, this one here, it's leaking fluid. It's cut right here, so I'm gonna have to switch this heater hose out before I can get it going. Nothing crazy. It was kind of shaking a little bit, so I forgot to plug in the 4-cylinder. I unplugged this when I was doing the when I was doing something down here. I forgot to plug in fourth injector or spark plug. That's why I was hesitating. So let me fix this real quick and then we'll give it another try, guys. I got the heater hose fixed. I put in that fourth spark plug wire. Didn't plug that in. That's why. Let's go ahead and start it up, guys. I'm excited. It runs. It sounds amazing. I keep closing that front door. I need to keep it unlocked because we can't unlock it from the back, the outside. close that door again. It runs good, sounds good. I wonder if the alternator is bad, guys, because the light for the charge is on. I'll check and see if we're getting 14 volts. The brake, the e-brake is bad. It's not worried about that. Oh, making some noise. Oh, check that out, guys. All right, let's check it out. Make sure it's not leaking or nothing. Smoking over here. Oh, that's just the gasket exhaust right there. We have to set the timing. The timing's not set right now. So I'll do that in a bit. We also got to bleed out the system. It sounds pretty good with no muffler. Looking good, guys. Looking good. Let's turn up the heat right here, bleed out the system. Wow. 1985, baby. Resurrected. We're not getting 14 volts, guys. My RPM, my tach meter is not also working, so I have no tach. I'm assuming we're like around 2,000, 3,000 RPM right now. We're at 12 volts right here. Oh shoot, coolant's overflowing. Oh, there's the cap. Couldn't find my cap, guys. Yeah, the heater's good now. Oh, my engine was so clean, now it has a bunch of coolant everywhere. So, alright, so we have a few small problems. The alternator is not working, it's not providing 14 volts, that's why the battery light's on. And then we also have no tach meter. The heater's working good, so we just have two little issues, nothing worried about. I have the other alternator out of the 87 4Runner, so I can swap that on later. But let me go ahead and clean up this mess. She's a bit high idle, but I think that's just her initial startup. Woo! Successful, in my opinion. Minor tweaks here and there. Finally got some time. I went ahead and swapped out the alternator with the other one. That is good. So I have that all hooked up on the multimeter. We'll go ahead and give it a start. I did went ahead and add some more coolant because the coolant drained out a little bit, or the level got a little bit lower. I also have my timing gun all hooked up, and we'll go ahead and start timing it. I think the reason why it was idling so high earlier was because it was still low on coolant. The 22RE, they're known for that. I've seen that happen before, where if it doesn't have enough coolant, or if there's air system in the coolant system, it'll auto high. And I also, my brakes feel really weak. Like I have to press all the way down to brakes. I went ahead and put new front rotors, brake calipers, brake pads on the front. I went ahead and bled them, but then I didn't bleed the rear first. So I think I might have to do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and bleed the rear brakes first, and then do the front again, because I think there's some air pockets in the brakes. But for the most part, I still have brakes. So we'll go ahead and give it a start, guys. Let's go. Make sure we have a flashlight. Once this engine starts, I'm gonna pull it out of the garage here. This truck here doesn't have the e-brakes, so the e-brakes don't work, so I gotta make sure I chalk it every time. Check it out, guys. We got 14 volts, there we go. Alternator's good, and also the battery light went away. So whenever you get the battery light, it usually means your alternator's going out or you have a bad connection down there. So alternator's good now. 14 volts. It sounds much better. It's not idling high anymore. It sounds pretty good too with no muffler. Just the cat right there. Love that. Don't close the door. The heat's really nice and warm, nice and hot. Oh yeah, heat's hot. I always wanted to check your fuel return line and the fuel pressure regulator, and then also down by the fuel filter, make sure it's not leaking gas. We're good on that. Usually when it leaks gas, you can smell it right away. Coolant radiator is good. It's still a little bit high. So I think the only thing we have to do is the timing and figure out why the tach meter is not working. You can see the tach's not working. Oil pressure, coolant temperature, half tank of gas, battery works great. No check engine light on, 201,000 miles. The idle is still really high right now. I'm not sure. I can't guess what the idle is, but I would say over 2,000. Oh yeah, the timing was way advanced, so I had to lower it. I just took the truck, did a little quick spin around the block here. Drives okay. The uncompleted muffler system is what's making it lack very power, so it doesn't have any power, or maybe I'm just used to 3/4 power. The brakes needs to be bled again, so I'm gonna go ahead and bleed the brakes. When you bleed brakes, you're supposed to do it from the rear and then get up to the fronts. When I put new calipers, I only did the fronts. I knew that already, but the brakes are very spongy. You have to press. So this is the beginning of the brakes, and this is the halfway, and this is the end of it. So the brakes don't engage until you get like right here. So it's very spongy. Gotta bleed the brakes. The clutch feels pretty good, or the clutch bites good, but the clutch pedal feels, it can be better. So I'm gonna go ahead and bleed the clutch as well. We didn't replace the slave cylinder because it was still good. The top radiator hose was leaking a little bit because it has the stock hose clamp, and it was still leaking, so I went ahead and put a new hose clamp on it, and now it's good, so the radiator's not cracked or anything like that. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Tomorrow we'll go ahead and start the exhaust system, but today I want to do these last small stuff that I can do in my garage, and then tomorrow I'll pop out the gears, the welders, and all that stuff and start building the exhaust system. Hopefully we can get more power. We don't have any like top end speed or anything like that. I only did like maybe 10 miles an hour at the most, so fun stuff, guys. Feels pretty good. The steering feels good. It's not sloppy. It's solid axle, so it feels all good and stuff like that. I'll have to go ahead and check the power steering and all that other stuff, but for the most part, guys, it's good. We'll go ahead and let the engine cool down for a little bit. I'll go ahead and pop that radiator cap and make sure the levels are good. It did drink a little bit of the coolant from the reservoir, so I'll go ahead and top that back up. But for the most part, guys, this is a successful. I'll go ahead and conclude this video, and tomorrow we'll start a fresh new video after I'm done building that muffler. I'll show you guys which muffler I'm using. So we're gonna go ahead and conclude this video, guys. Stay tuned. This 85 is gonna go on its first drive pretty soon. I still have to go do some other logistic stuff for it, but for the most part, guys, it's super fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the next video. Bye.